goes. We're bringing the CJ5 home. Let's do some paperwork. Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this week's video, we bought another project. And it's not a Land Cruiser. It's another Jeep, which just so happens to have the 304 V8 in it. That's also extremely locked up. A little unfortunate, but this Jeep's got a really cool history specifically for me. That's because I used to see this Jeep when I would drive to school when I was this big. It sat in the same spot for years. I think the last inspection sticker on it is from 2000, and that's 25 years ago. Till recently, it showed up at the end of the driveway of that property with a for sale sign. I passed it several times, not really thinking too much about it, until a couple days ago when I passed it and it had a giant spray painted sign that said V8 on it, and I knew exactly what kind of CJ5 this was. So I'm really excited to own this truck, as the person that sold me it was the sister of the person that bought it brand new. Unfortunately, he did pass away from cancer, which is very sad, but I promised her that I would keep the life going on in this Jeep and get it running and driving again. So let's jump in and find out what exactly we bought. As you can see, she is very yellow and it's really not perfect. It's been patched with aluminum foil tape. I guess that was a thing back in the days where people thought they're actually doing body work. But it's very minimal for what it is. If you've seen my other CJ5 video, just take a look at that thing. It's one big pile of rust. It has a ton of amazing things going for it. It did come with the fiberglass top here. We have all of the doors for that as well. The interior is extremely complete. I'm really excited to see that. The seats are absolutely immaculate. No rips or tears, any of that stuff. We got our factory spare here. Again, it's not amazing body, but if we can get this thing running and driving, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I did mention that it does have that 304 V8, which was a rare option back in the 70s, because this is a 1976 Jeep. This thing is just extremely locked up. And I knew that going into that. I pulled on the V-belts when I was looking at the Jeep originally, and it didn't want to budge at that point. So I'm really excited that we have this special little project. Honestly, the 304 V8, if you've never heard one run, is probably one of my favorite sounding V8s. It just sounds so good. So that's what's pushing me to get this thing to run. Let's dive in, see how much it takes to get this thing to purr again. The key doesn't work for this solenoid because it's probably bad. So we're gonna use some pliers and jump it and show you what's going on with the motor here. You can see the fan blade wanting to move a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and try to put a wrench on this thing. We're gonna pull this fan off this so we can get to the crank bolt way down there. Did go ahead and put a wrench on it a little while ago from the bottom and just couldn't get a lot of leverage on it to really see if it will do anything. So let's get that fan off and see if that will help us get any leverage on this thing. Unfortunately, to make this job a little easier, getting this fan out, we couldn't get the fan shroud out because the bolts are spinning on the other side of the radiator. So we had to do it the blind way. Got that guy off. Now we have direct access to our crank down here. Could have put a wrench right on it. See if we can get this thing to break free. Well, wouldn't you know it, this motor, even with a breaker bar, doesn't want to turn over. And I'm afraid I'm gonna break this crank bolt off. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull all the spark plugs out, see if that gives it any type of reprieve from turning over, and then soak down the cylinders. All right, I labeled the spark plugs on this one because I'm not really familiar with the firing order of an AMC V8. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the spark plugs out, see what they look like. They're a little stuck in there. I'm just worried that there's water that leaked down into this thing, but the carburetor looks pretty good. Number one, it's a little sooty, but it looks like it was firing okay. Spark plugs are stuck in there. Holy smokes. That's not good. We have all 8 spark plugs out of the Jeep. All of them look really great except for this guy way over here, which is on from the driver's side bank. This is spark plug number 3 on that side, and it's got a little bit of a rust stuff around it compared to the other ones. The other ones are dry or a little bit sooty. So I am suspect that number 3 is the one holding this thing up from turning over. So we're gonna work on getting some fluid down these spark plug holes, see if we can let it soak up a little bit and break any of the rust down in the cylinders free.
Good. That's good. Very good. Very good. Good.
Oh, hey. Jeep's in a new location. We're taking it apart. What I mean by that is we're still trying to get this motor unlocked. It's been a long battle already. We've tried to drag it down the road, put stuff into the cylinders, nothing. So this is the next thing that we're doing. We're pulling off the crank pulley, which we just got the crank nut out. And why we are doing that is we are going to be welding this block onto that crank pulley. And what that means is that we will be able to get a whole bunch more leverage on the entire crank pulley to try to get this thing broken free before breaking down the entire motor and slamming all those pistons free. We got the crank bolt out. My biggest concern was not breaking this off into the crank. It was turning and it was getting tighter, and that was a sign that we could break this off, then we'd really be in trouble. Here's what we have. Let's throw her back on the Jeep and hopefully this makes her want to turn it over. Well, one or two things are going to happen right now. My welds are going to break because I'm not a welder, or we're going to break the motor free, or it's just not going to move at all. The motor's moving. I can't believe it. The motor's free, everyone. The motor is free. This Jeep will run again. She's actually moving pretty good. Just gotta get it to do a full revolution on the crank. But that's really exciting news, honestly. See if this thing will crank over. Cranking over. Great news. Gonna go ahead and check for spark here. It's grounded off to the block. We're gonna go ahead and turn the key inside the truck and see what we got. I could see some healthy spark. That means this thing might fire off. That's pretty incredible. Well, we got spark, we got the motor to turn over. We're just gonna throw something down its throat, see if she does anything. We got the fuel disconnected as well, so who knows what's in that gas tank. Let's see if this old carburetor and Jeep will start for the first time in probably 25 years. Yup. She's leaking fuel everywhere, so that's not good. Fuel smells terrible. Oh my goodness. Ripping the carburetor off here. Go through this guy. Hopefully we'll get it to run a little better. So let's get that thing off and in the truck and take it home to get it all cleaned up. Well, we got the carburetor all reinstalled. We just basically went through and cleaned it and making sure that everything in there was spraying fuel, because at first it didn't have any fuel actually coming out of the carburetor when you worked the accelerator pedal. So I do have a rebuild kit if it does need it, or we might have to just buy a new carburetor later down the road. But right now we're gonna fill the bowl and see if we can get it to run on the bowl. Good. Put a fresh fuel filter here on it with some new hoses. We also pulled the accelerator pump off and replaced that so it's not leaking anymore. Put fresh fuel in the tank after leaking it out. You can see in the last clip, I had a little bucket as it was running. Pulling that out, there wasn't a whole lot in there, so let's start it up on its fuel from its own tank. Running on its own tank. We also have the fan back on. We're charging, which is awesome. She sounds pretty good. Super healthy. We're gonna attempt to move this thing. I adjusted the clutch. It's running good. See if it does an up and back. It does not want to move. I don't know what's going on with this clutch. Bringing the back of the Jeep up here. See if we actually have gears. Not sure what's going on with this. Let's find out together. Among some of my better ideas, we have the CJ5 outside now. It runs great, still won't shift into gear. I have a feeling that the clutch plate is welded somehow by nature's Loctite to the flywheel. So we're gonna try to start it in gear and see if she will move, go anywhere, and unlock herself from the clutch. Well, the good news is we almost died. Clutch still doesn't work, but we drove it for the first time. It was very difficult because there's no brakes, no stick or pedals, and she just was driving on her own. I think the clutch is shot. Great. Well, I figure while we're still trying to figure out what's going on with the clutch, we tackle the brake master because it's, well, it's seen better days. It's not really that clean in there. But coincidentally, when I bought the Jeep, it came with a whole bunch of brand new parts. In fact, I think it had a remanned Bendix master. So let's go check it out. Here's all the Jeep stuff that came with it. And like I was saying, it looks like we have a brand new-ish master here in the box that we're gonna slap on the Jeep. I mean, everything seems to work in there. There's a whole bunch of other stuff in here, AMC boxes with, you know, you name it, brand new stuff, which I'm sure you can't get, carburetor rebuild kit, so on and so forth. But for now, let's go get this on there, see if we might be able to get a brake pedal on that old Jeep. Come on, 4 hands. Well, that master cylinder for the brakes didn't actually do anything because the lines are leaking because they're all rusted through. No big deal. So we're gonna do the next best thing and go ahead and drop the transmission because all the stuff we tried to do to free up that clutch didn't do anything. So we gotta lay on our back all day and drop this transmission and probably put a clutch in this thing. Except everything's rusted. Great. We got the transmission all pulled out. I'm gonna probably leave it right there so that when we go ahead and put the clutch back in there, we can just slide her back in the way she is set up here on the transmission jack. Not a terrible job, but definitely tight space under that CJ5, that's for sure. Looks like the clutch is actually stuck to the pressure plate, which is not what I was expecting. That won't even come off. So that is a little concerning, but this was made in the USA. That is pretty freaking cool. I mean, honestly, could probably take that off and throw it back in there if I wanted to. I'm literally sitting here prying on the clutch and it finally came free. And that's exactly what the problem was. You can see under here that there are rust spots that were holding it to the pressure plate. So she is free now, which is good. The clutch actually looks like it's got plenty of meat on there. So maybe we just throw it in there and keep going down the road. No way, how did I miss Rock Auto coming? That means our Jeep clutch is here. We can finally get that thing to move. Heck yeah, let's go put it on. I'll tell you one thing. I'm glad that I got a kit for this thing. This throwout bearing is wore out. So that's trash. We've got this one all put back in there. We got the fitting all greased. Ready to roll. Putting a transmission in a car is consistently always a battle. But we did get this thing in there. We are hooking up drive shafts. We got the rear one all hooked up, as you can see there. We're doing the front one now. And we got to get the starter back in. And she'll be ready to hopefully move. I hope that clutch was the actual reason she wasn't moving. So let's go ahead and finish up the last few things here and see if she'll go down the road. CJ5 runs, starts, drives, and shifts, but it's got a little problem. It's not doing the braking thing. One of the lines is broken, and I'm sure the wheel cylinders are shot. So we went to the old Rock Auto, and we bought everything we need for this thing to get it to stop again. Rock Auto's cheap, or maybe it's just Jeep parts are cheap and easy to find. It's not like the Land Cruiser parts that I'm always looking for that are like 5 times as expensive as they should be. Maybe that's why people like these old things. Let's get started on the rear brakes. Well, the agonizing process of getting this thing to stop on a dime and have a real stiff brake pedal is over. We had to build all 4 of those drum brakes back up, which for any guy is a terrible process, but it has to be done. And oh yeah, you remember that leaky brake line we were talking about that had to be made? Well, we made it. And then bled the brakes, and every brake line up to that one started to break. So it's got all fresh brake lines throughout the Jeep, all fresh soft lines. and she's ready to be driven. Maybe given a bath, who knows? She's got a ton more work to go through this thing, but let's jump in it, take it for a little spin, and see how she rides. I'm not really sure why wood bumpers was even a thing for this Jeep or any other car. Maybe to pass inspection, not really sure. But needless to say, it's coming off and gonna be used at the next bonfire. Now, let's get this thing off. I think it's about time we take this thing on a historic journey to go get some gas, as that would make me really happy for doing all of this work to a Jeep that maybe just really doesn't deserve it because it's rotting away. So we're gonna slap a farm use tag, because heck, we're working on a farm, and take her up to get her first little tank of gas. How exciting is that? Let's jump in this old girl, pray she makes it. Don't feel too bad or flat spotted. Not running the best, but she's getting us there. Well, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this old heap of a Jeep made it all the way to the gas station. It needs new tires, that's all I'm gonna say. I got her up to 45 and that V8 did everything I asked of it. It's actually a really fun vehicle to drive. We need to do a little more work to this thing to really make it roadworthy, but I wouldn't mind just jumping in it and driving it around town right now in its current state. That's gonna be the conclusion of this episode. If you'd like to see other stuff like this, please subscribe to the channel, like and share these videos. What should we do with this Jeep? Keep working on it, sell it, jump it off a cliff, clean it up a little bit, bring it back to the old owner? You tell me. See you on the next video.